Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
The IRS, the world's most aggressive collection agency. They can seize your property, bank account, and garnish your wages. They cause sleepless nights for millions of Americans. Don't be one of them. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, get protected today. Call 800-312-9970. Coast One Tax Group, protecting your bank, home, and your sleep since 2008. With hundreds of 5-star reviews and an A+ on the Better Business Bureau. Call Coast One Tax Group, 800-312-9970. Stanley from New York owed $93,000. The IRS placed a levy on his bank account. Coast One released the levy and settled with the IRS for $2,000. Mark in Michigan owed $225,000. After Coast One stepped in, Mark walked away paying less than $1,500. Call Coast One now. A 10-minute call can save you up to 93% on your back taxes. Get your fresh start today. That's 800-312-9970.
Last Tuesday, someone broke into my car and robbed me blind. Or at least that's what would have happened if I didn't have Vivint. Instead, my Vivint Outdoor Camera Pro detected him and scared him away with a light and a whistle. Want peace of mind? Stop crime before it happens with a Vivint system. Vivint, all is well. Call 833-420-4070 to get started today. That's 833-420-4070.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Earth Justice is a national legal nonprofit defending the planet and its people for nearly 50 years. Earth Justice has 150 full-time lawyers fighting in court for our planet's future and representing all clients free of charge. Until people come before profit, all energy is clean, the wild is truly free, and justice stands for all. Earth Justice will never rest. Learn more at earthjustice.org/neverrest. Earth Justice, because the earth needs a good lawyer.
Welcome to the new home of country favorites in the Hudson Valley. This is Real Country Radio 92.5 and 96.5.
Raymond's in his Sunday best. He's usually up to his chest in oil and grease. There's the Martins walking in with that mean little freckle-faced kid who broke a window last week. Sweet Miss Betty likes to sing off-key in the pew behind me. That's what I love about Sunday. I sing along as the choir sways every verse of Amazing Grace. And then we shake the preacher's hand, go home into your blue jeans, have some chicken and some baked beans, pick a backyard football team, not do much of anything. That's what I love about Sunday. Stroll to the end of the drive, pick up the Sunday Times, grab a coffee cup. It looks like Sally and Rod finally tied the knot. Well, it's about time. There's 35 cents off a ground round, baby, cut that coupon out. That's what I love about about Sunday. Catnapping on the porch swing. You curled up next to me. The smell of jasmine wakes us up. We take a walk down a back road. Tackle box and a cane pole. Carve our names in that white oak. Still a kiss as the sun fades. That's what I love about Sunday. Oh yeah. New believers getting baptized. Mama's hands raised up high. Having a hallelujah good time. A smile on everybody's face. That's what I love about Sunday. Oh yeah. That's what I love about Sunday.
Real Country with Craig Morgan. That's what I love about Sunday. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope all was well with you. It's John Michael Montgomery now.
I know you've heard that worn out line about love at first sight. Well, I never knew those words were true till you walked in tonight. All it took was just one look, knocking me off of my feet. I'm not a man of many words, so I'll make this short and sweet. Could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? I'm not trying to come on like some rhinestone Romeo. I'm looking for a whole lot more than a one-night rodeo. What can I do to prove to you I'm laying it on the line? I'll even get down on my knees just to beg you one more time. Girl, could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? If I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, I'll take a chance, slow dance, make a little romance. Honey, it'll be alright. Girl, you got me wishing we were hugging and a kissing and a holding each other tight. So could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight? Yeah, could you, would you, ain't you gonna, if I ask you, would you wanna be my baby tonight?
92.5, 96.5.
Real Country.
If I said you have a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? If I swore you were an angel, would you treat me like the devil tonight? If I was dying of thirst, would you flow in love, come quench me? If I said you have a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? Now we could talk all night about the weather. Could tell you about my friends out on
said you have a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? If I swore you were an angel, would you treat me like the devil tonight? If I was dying of thirst, would you go in love, come quench me? If I said you have a beautiful body, would you hold it against me?
Now rain can fall so soft against a window, the sun can shine so bright up in the sky, but Daddy always told me don't make small talk. He said come on out and say what's on your mind.
On 920 WGHQ.
Good morning. You're now listening to Kingston Community Radio, airing on FM 92.5 and AM 920 WGHQ, Kingston, New York. This programming is brought to you by our listeners and corporate underwriters who are interested in presenting local community radio. The opinions expressed on this program do not represent those of Pamel Broadcasting or Kingston Community Radio. Listeners are encouraged to send in $10 per month to help bring this program to you. And mail your contributions to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. For more information or to donate online, visit our website at mykcr.org. And good morning. This is Dan Gatus, and thank you for tuning in, sharing the morning with us, being a part of March 2nd with KCR. And it is a Tuesday, March 2nd, so it's a terrific Tuesday. 18 degrees here in uptown Kingston. Going to be partly cloudy today, but mostly clear. High of 33 tonight. Mostly clear, partly cloudy again, low 23. Wednesday, generally sunny with a few passing clouds, a high up to 47. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, a low down to 29. And Thursday, sunny skies, high 36. And Thursday night, clear skies, and the low goes down to 18. And we'll be right back.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. When St. Jude finds something that works well with a certain cancer, they share that with everybody. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge. We just have to worry about helping Chandler, and he's just my heart.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, this is Dina Roy from Hurley, and I support the Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
You're listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio, WGHQ 920 on your AM dial, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. And your phone number to call in to us is 331-9255. And the whole team is here. Nina Postupack, Cameron Rylance, kicking it off for us this morning. How you doing?
On a terrific Tuesday.
A windy Tuesday. Oh my gosh.
It was.
Cameron said on the way to work, on the way to the studio, there's
garbage cans everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the Old West tumbleweeds blowing down the.
You have to you wend your way through the streets.
Yeah, but
the flagpole was knocked over in front of the place on Washington Avenue that Shea.
Oh, Chiz's.
Chiz's. Yeah,
oh,
Hart
really?
Street, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hope nobody got hurt.
No, I don't think so. It just looked like it bowled over from from the wind. Yeah.
The wind was terrible. Did it keep you up last night? It woke me up like maybe 5 times.
The dog getting up and freaking out kept me awake, not the wind.
Oh, yeah, that must have really...
A big gust, she gets up, she turns around and lies back down. And,
yeah.
So everything's good?
Yes. The week flew by, Cameron.
I know.
Like we were just here, right? I know. It's amazing.
It's a scary sign that...
Yeah, they said that means you're getting older. I don't know how true that is.
Also means maybe nothing bad happened or dramatic in the week. So,
thank God. Absolutely.
Nothing to slow you down, but...
no, definitely. They approved the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, one-shot vaccine.
Yes, which
they said they can make a whole bunch of them, which is good.
Yes, and they don't have to be under that refrigeration like the Moderna one and the Pfizer, so that's a great thing.
I think, I was talking to a couple people last night, and, all over the world, there's countries making vaccines, pharmaceutical, Japan, Israel, Russia, ICR news, you think, how is Pfizer going to make enough for the whole world? Well, they're not, because there's, you got to sort of take a deep breath and look back at the global picture a little bit, sort of, it's.
Yes. And then there was promising news, I think yesterday, the day before, the county executive said that we received 40% more.
A whole bunch.
Yeah, so that's a great thing.
40 doses,
Yeah, which is fantastic.
I know, I don't know, there's people in line, but my mom has to go to Gloversville.
I know.
To get hers. I think today, soon they're going. I may have gone, I should know.
So now, normally it's like Binghamton... Binghamton, Albany, like the state sites. How did she end up in Gloversville?
CVS.
Oh,
in Gloversville. CVS in Gloversville, yeah.
Okay, all right.
She told me, but...
We're going to go up to Margaretville tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Nice drive, though.
It's a nice day trip, and they were available, so we went ahead and...
Do it, Wednesday.
Scheduled.
48. It's going to be a beautiful day for a drive up 28.
Yeah, it'll be a good day.
Maybe you can build in a little extra time and stuff at one of the fine eateries or breweries along the way. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you going to CVS or?
The CVS, exactly. CVS. Yeah, right in Margaretville.
That's cool.
It's the first one that opened up, so we were looking them over, every morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as they give,
Yes, our age group.
Yeah, 55 years and up permission, I'm going to sign up.
Me too, absolutely.
Do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I just gave away my age, didn't I?
Yeah. You did, but that's okay.
Special circumstances. You're a frontline worker, keeping us on the air.
5.5. There you go, right over that line. But I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday that called the office, and he had his vaccine up in Binghamton at the state site, and he said that it was so organized.
Good.
He was a little early, about 45 minutes early. They took him right in, processed him. He received a shot and right back out. So he had a very good experience up there.
Thank goodness. You're going to schlep 2 hours
to Binghamton, right?
It better be organized.
I know.
And a little salt to the wound if it wasn't.
Yes. So hopefully with the increase in vaccines for Ulster County, we'll be able to do more right here at the field house and down in Ellenville.
Yep.
And did you see, Cameron, they opened up the rapid testing center?
I saw.
Which is wonderful. Just from my own personal experience within the office, where employees have to wait like 2, 3, 4 days to find out whether they're COVID positive or not. 15 minutes.
Yeah,
it's over on Grant
text,
Street.
I know
free
people
of
that
charge.
have gotten them. For whatever reason. 15 minutes later, you get a text, yay or nay. So.
Yeah, and we haven't been able to do that in our area, so that's great that they opened that site. And it's free of charge, which is a nice plus also. And within 15 minutes, whether you're COVID positive or not. So, and I think people with the vaccine coming out have a tendency a little bit to let their guard down, but it's still something that you have to be very, very mindful of at all times, and that's why the rapid testing is so important.
Yep.
So, which is great.
Not for any particular reason. I haven't gotten tested, so I don't know if.
Yeah, so
could have had it, may not. I'm healthy now, but actually, and then fever. I guess they're finding out. I was talking to a couple nurses last night, nurse practitioner, and I guess they're finding out. Well, everyone doesn't get a fever. Even if you test positive, not every. So I didn't know that. I just assumed that you had a fever. That's why they're scanning your forehead. But that's just a precaution. It's not 100%. So that was kind of news to me.
Yes,
If you're positive, currently positive, you don't necessarily have to have a fever. So.
Yeah, there's so many different symptoms. It's anymore when any employee calls in sick, we say get a COVID test because you just don't know some of the symptoms. And some people have very mild symptoms that you wouldn't even think you had COVID. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I don't know. I haven't done it, but I know there are people who have taken the antibody test to see if they've had it in the past. And some people have been really surprised that they have had it.
Antibodies,
And some of it could have been prior to the actual realization that COVID was here, because a lot of people were sick in January and February of last year.
Absolutely.
Very sick.
There's 2 fatalities in December in California.
Right. So people could have had it even before COVID. So
keep the vaccines coming. Wear your mask.
Yeah.
And hopefully we go to Yankee and Giants games this summer and fall. So.
That's right. Absolutely. And things are opening up a little bit. I think they've increased the hours for restaurants.
Knicks and Rangers, the Madison Square Garden, and the Nets, Brooklyn. What's the name of the arena over there in Brooklyn? Whatever it's called, where the Nets play. The
Barclays Center.
Barclays Center, yeah, I knew I had it.
It's there. I was on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah, the Barclays Center and the Garden, 10%, and so hopefully.
And I see people are allowed back into nursing homes again to visit their loved ones. So that's a real positive, because I have friends whose moms, dads, relatives are in nursing homes, and they haven't been able to see them or through a window, and especially with the weather in the winter. So that's a fantastic thing that they can go back into the nursing homes. I'm very happy for people. That's a great thing. So a lot happening, Kevin.
What's going on? I saw. I brought the paper in today. One for a couple of reasons. Well, there's always something to talk about. But see, today Heidi Kirschner is our guest at 8.
Yes.
And Bill Merchant, and then I know Nancy Chando's coming in.
Yeah.
Are you friends with Nancy on Facebook?
I am.
So did you see what she posted the other day?
Remind me, I'm getting old.
It was yesterday. It was about someone's famous birthday. I don't want to give it away because I want her to tell a little story. I don't know the story.
Oh, okay. I will have to look. I don't remember seeing. Okay, I won't cheat.
Something really. I think it's really cool. Something.
Okay, I won't look.
It's kind of cool. It's way off the topic of what she's discussing for the history,
still interesting.
But it's still pretty cool. It is historical.
So everybody, stay tuned till 8:30 this morning. We'll hear from Nancy.
Cool thingy.
Yes.
But a couple things I brought. One what caught me, Allie Mitchell. Do you know Dr. Mitchell, Kim Janssen? Allie Mitchell, John Mitchell's daughter. Well, I've known Kim since Calabar. She's, friend, childhood friends, and our kids went to my son and her daughters went to summer camp together, and tremendous swimmer. I mean, she's tall and lean. I mean, she looks like a swimmer. She's tall and lean and whatever, but she's also apparently a really good track runner.
I was going to say, swimming, probably you have to be one of the most athletic. Swimming.
Because it's so fast. It's the maximum your body can output.
Yeah.
Sprinting, it's all on, and for, 50 seconds, whatever. It's crazy. So anyhow, but she, there's a headline in the paper which could Mitchell wins twice at meet.
Oh, congratulations.
Cool. Allie Mitchell won a pair of races Saturday at Kingston, competed in a true indoor track meet in a parking garage at the Palisades Center Mall.
Oh.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
That parking garage is huge. It's multi-level. It's part of it's like sort of underground a little bit.
What a smart thing to do.
Yeah, that's why I brought it in. I was like, that is the coolest thing.
Yeah, that really is.
And there's a 300-meter loop in the track inside, which is pretty big. I don't know if that's a official size, but for a 1,000-meter run, which takes 3 minutes and 33 seconds, it's three and a third laps or whatever.
Right.
It's pretty. So it's a pretty big loop inside this parking garage.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I don't know what a real track loop is. There might be a standard. I'm sure there has to be some sort of standard for like athletic competitions. But either way, it's pretty creative use of trying to allow kids to play sports and.
Oh, absolutely.
Just running in a parking garage, so that's kind of cool.
And what an accomplishment, because just under normal conditions to win like that is.
Yeah, and she won 2 races in one day, so that's like huge.
But under those conditions and during a pandemic and everything, good for her.
Maybe they street sweep it or anything, but I can imagine like the crap that falls off your car in the winter and chunks of salt and ice. So, it might have been a little bit adverse running conditions. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good for those athletes. This is pretty cool.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad to see that high school sports and athletics are starting to come back a little bit. That had to be very difficult. Well, you have a son who does crew, right?
Yeah, that hopefully is going on. It will be starting shortly. So.
Yeah, which is great because it's difficult. And I see they have the basketball. We watched the Mount game live streamed. We watched it the other night, and everybody had masks on. So God bless them running up and down that court, playing basketball, but with masks on and so forth. Not an easy thing to do.
I think for the whole March Madness, players have to have masks on.
Oh, right? Do they?
I think. I'm not sure. I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
That must be tough.
I think it would be really tough. It's tough. Just myself, like. When I was rushing up the stairs today to get here,
I'm trying to think.
With the mask on.
I was watching. It was the Huskies. The UConn. The women last night were playing.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Dwayne had it on the TV, but I can't remember either.
I'm trying to picture. I can't recall.
Yeah, on the TV. I don't remember.
There's this freshman woman.
Oh, that's all. Yes, I've heard about. Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's why the game was on. It was on primetime TV last night.
Yeah, and, they say she's absolutely
she's
amazing.
like up and down, rebounding, shooting.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow her.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, and she's bouncing around.
An amazing athlete.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I haven't seen her play.
Skinny little thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Sometimes basketball players pretty physical, even women.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
But she's 19 years old, probably freshman.
Yeah, how tall is she?
I don't know. Taller than me, I'm sure.
I'm not sure either.
I don't know. She's not like ginormous because she's agile and quick. Unfortunately, a lot of very tall people aren't as agile. Ability. It takes longer to move a 3-foot-long arm than it does a 2-foot-long arm.
Yeah. No, this is true. Great analogy there. You're absolutely right.
Takes a little longer.
You're absolutely correct. So we, through the office, we get the press releases if something goes out from the county executive or whatever. And yesterday, a press release went out about Tech City.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really positive release in regard to interest on a lot of different levels, which was very interesting.
Indoor farming to baking bread to offices, tennis courts, or tennis facility. Well, the building's ginormous, so you can get a whole bunch of things in there.
Oh yeah, and there's so much property there too on top of it.
And a commercial level or something industrial solar farm, like the utility level or something they called it. Which I guess to me means they're going to be pumping out a lot of electricity,
right?
Not just like a little, backyard rooftop thingy. I guess I don't know what that meant, but
yeah, I don't either. And then Bard College was interested for a satellite campus, which I thought
storing their artwork, sure.
Yeah.
Get something in there, so so it doesn't degrade, so it's maintained. Tenants pay for the upkeep, and tax revenue and jobs and everything. So.
And some were interested in leasing or renting. Some were interested in buying portions of the property to purchase some of it. So, it was. It's a real positive for the first time, right?
Yeah.
I thought, and all different kinds of components, like educational facilities, biotech. I thought the farm bridge to expand its food processing distribution operations. So. Another one that caught my eye was
the town of Ulster. It says to develop soccer fields and trails, a solar farm, and a new town facility. Our neighbors in the town of Ulster, that town hall and
yes,
they need more room. The police are in like a trailer for the
Yeah. The police are all
when I was built in the 70s, it was
Yeah, the
sleepy
perfect
little
fit.
town of Ulster. But now it's, with the development and the growth, and they need more room. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and then
it's way cheaper to rent a chunk of that than it would be to build a whole new town hall, I'm sure. So
absolutely. I know Newport's, I forget what the price tag of that town hall was, but yes, it's substantial. It's in the millions of dollars. So
to
yeah,
build
you're absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's a little old. Well, I'm not saying little old in a bad way, but the Woodstock Library talking about $3 million to build a new one, and
Yeah.
holy cow,
I know, tremendous amount of money.
Yeah, everything's expensive.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. Rough Draft and Kingston Bread Bar want
Yeah,
to expand their Kingston operation and establish a bread production kitchen, probably similar to what Bread Alone has done out in the
I
town
should
of
think.
Ulster. Yeah.
It's funny that bread. Everyone might be healthier, low carbs, no carbs, but a nice slice of bread, even like carb-free people enjoy a nice
love bread.
slice.
Everybody
enjoy a
loves
nice
a
slice of
good
bread now
slice
and
of
then.
bread. I agree.
It's just something so like basic, or not basic, but
Yeah, no, it is. It's like that.
heartwarming and hearty and whatever. It's
Yeah, no, absolutely. It just hits the spot. I agree with you. Bread Bar, that's now located right there on North Front Street. If you go past there on weekends, there's a line.
Always a line there.
Yeah. So they do very well.
Yeah.
So, and I thought it was interesting I can't how would you say that, for Jesus Media. Want to manage outdoor events in the parking lot. So I thought that really is an outgrowth from the pandemic, because during the pandemic, right, the movies were being shown there. We did the Italian American Festival,
virtual,
abbreviated one there. So what a great idea for a media production company to manage outdoor events in that parking lot. They also did Phoenicia Festival of the Voice there.
Yeah.
So it really has quite a bit of versatility.
Now that you're
potential.
saying this, if they do develop a facility where there's like outdoor public bathrooms or whatever, I hate to say it, I don't want to pull any events out of the city of Kingston, but the Italian American Festival it would be better there than downtown. More parking, you could have huge parking lots, have a dedicated site, like the farmer's market. Everything's like in a circle or whatever,
Right.
rather than closing off a street, clogging up the parking for everybody else.
Busing and
That would, that's the more I think about it, the hoolie,
Yeah. So that might be
like I said, I hate to pull things out of the city of Kingston.
Right, and the restaurants and the business people do so well on that day.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, personal experience, West Strand Grill, like the parade day, those are terrible.
Oh, really?
I mean, you made money, but you had to double your staff. The next day, the cleaning and, the cleanup and the broken stuff, the aggravation, a long day. Honestly, it's a little bit not even worth it.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Honestly, after 10 years of experience, living through that, So, and especially if it was like rainy, your building, your facility would be destroyed, trashed. Imagine, Mariners,
I can't even imagine, right, where it's right in the heart of everything.
10,000 people in and out your door, toilets are, clogged, it's just, honestly, I didn't think it was quite worth it,
So there you go. So it might be a win-win for everybody.
Bet you $50, other merchants downtown say the same dang thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's
That's
great. It's
interesting. I
fun
never thought
event
about that
for the
end of it.
public, but,
Yeah, for the business owner, not quite the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good point. So that might be a great venue
cool.
all the way around.
Yeah.
So a lot happening here in the county, which is great. A lot going on, and especially during these times, it's nice to see.
Yep.
Which is good. And there's a couple real estate firms and management firms that are
I just
interested
saw
too.
on the corner of, a catty corner from the bus station, with the old dentist office there.
Yes.
Dr. Death, what would they call him on that show, 2020 or whatever?
Oh my God.
Dennis, whatever. They made up a moniker for. But Neon's at Berardi Realty. I wonder if that's Greg Berardi out on his own.
I don't know. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there's a neon sign. It's cool. It's like a retro, like a silent era, Berardi Realty. There's some other signage on the building.
Directly catty corner there.
In the old dentist
building.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to look.
Yeah. I saw it cropped up a couple days ago, and then last night, driving home, and it was dark.
caught your eye.
The neon sign was lit. Can't miss it. It's cool. It's great. So that's interesting. I wonder if
bet it is Greg.
Because he was like the top realtor in Ulster County for several years in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
hard worker.
Was he with Murphy, I think?
No, he was with Win
Morrison. Win Morrison. So that's, I don't know if they split up or what, but good for Jim.
That's interesting.
Greg, not Jim.
Jim's a fireman.
Brother. Yeah, Jim's his brother. But yeah, not cool. Hey, good for him. Another business.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's nice to see another building, or a currently empty building, get some life back into it. That's been sitting empty since that medical, since the doctor shut down or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it is nice to see. Yeah, some activity and everything. So which is great.
That's one of the That's sort of the gateway. One of the gateways to Kingston. You come off the thruway, and if you drive past the gas stations and a diner, now you're in Kingston. That's pretty much right there. So.
Yeah. So that's great.
Good-looking building.
It's a gateway. Yeah, which is nice. So, what's going on at the Elks these days?
Oh man, we had a super successful. Great, good. A super successful drive-through shepherd's pie dinner yesterday.
Oh, so tell us, how did the shepherd's pie come out?
Oh, I thought it was delicious. Got a bunch of it. My mom said it was delicious. While we were there.
If your mother says something's delicious,
and she texted me. She was like, "Hey, I don't know if anybody told you, but it was really good." A lot of work went into it. Oh yeah. 92 dinners, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's like on the top end, right?
Yeah, that's one of our bigger ones.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. On Sunday, I don't want to forget anybody, myself, Leslie Sewell, Sally Mulligan, and Natua, and I can't forget, Natua, I believe her saying it. Pretty new elk. She works at Trailways. She's golfer, 12 skill. Natua, I think. I don't know. Ann. So 4 of us were there for 3 hours Sunday, dicing and slicing vegetables.
Oh my gosh.
55 pounds of potatoes, 25 pounds of ground beef, 20 pounds of carrots, 20 pounds of onions, 4 pounds of peas, 2 gallons of, you make have
the gravy.
Sauce or the gravy, whatever, the binder, whatever you want to call it.
Oh my God!
It's incredible. We had 8 big trays of. That's all you can make, 4 in each oven. 8 big trays of it.
Oh my gosh!
It was like 100 pounds of food. It was like crazy. But
Whoa.
And you buy like a huge bag of carrots, and some of them are like a rolling pin, and a huge carrot to dice into.
Oh yeah. You
dice.
didn't use like choppers, like automatic where you throw the carrot in the chopper.
No, we don't have one. It would have been helpful, but unfortunately, to make cute, diced, you got to slice it into strips.
And then just say
It was just like the knife work was crazy. And
I
people
hope
were
you
like,
have good knives.
I usually use frozen vegetables. And I was like, in my head, I'm going, yeah, well, that's why mine tastes better than yours. Because I don't use no frozen. Taste. Frozen vegetables have, especially the mixed vegetables, you can tell. The texture, the whatever. I was like, no, sorry. You can make it next time, but if Cameron Rylance's name is
there's no frozen vegetables in my shepherd's pie.
Oh, Cameron made it. There ain't no frozen vegetables going in there. So
yeah. So how many hours did that take?
Well, that was 4 of us, 3 hours on Sunday.
12 man hours of doing
then,
that.
2 hours, 3 hours yesterday. I had to come in, put them in the oven, serve it. 6 of us, 6 people were serving.
Oh yeah.
Different, whatever.
So 92 people.
Yeah,
Boy, that's
good.
Amazing. 92 dinners. So you had enough food?
Oh yeah. Well, barely. Yeah, we had to, be very careful with our portion control. Because we had all the reservations. People you have to have reservations. So
Right.
We knew we had like mid-80s signed up. So you just got to be careful with your portion control, and
just make a little bit extra just in case.
Worked out just fine. Yeah.
That's great.
So on the 15th, we have a drive-through corned beef and cabbage dinner. $15, 389-9629 for reservations. We already got a bunch last night.
So corned beef, cabbage, and potatoes?
Carrots, potatoes, probably a soda bread muffin rather than a bacon loaves because, the middle of the loaf you get a big, juicy, fat slice. End of the loaf, it's
that's so good.
So muffins are perfect portion control. And then...
Yeah, but muffins are a lot of work. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Would you make this soda
I
bread
would.
muffins?
Somebody, actually, Dina Gage and Leslie Lansing and Melissa
Are going to make them?
Winfield. Those three sort of rotate desserts and
Okay.
the biscuits or muffins or whatever we're making. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, muffins are great.
Yeah, boop, easy to cook.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no,
With
that's
soda bread
good.
muffins. Muffins.
And what's that number again? If people want
389-9629.
389-9629. Okay. Corned beef and cabbage.
Yeah.
$15?
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be good. So.
Yes,
look at that. We're
absolutely.
At the bottom of the hour. So all right, Dan, why don't you take us to break?
Okay, thank you, Nina Postupack, Cameron Rylance, and thank you for bringing us to the 7:30 segment, and you're listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio on AM 920, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. It's Tuesday, March 2nd, 18 degrees here in Uptown Kingston. It's a cold morning, and it's partly cloudy today. The high is going to go up to 33, though. And tonight, partly cloudy, a low down to 23. Wednesday, generally sunny with a few passing clouds, a high of 47. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, a low down to 29. And Thursday, sunny skies with a high of 36. And Thursday night, clear skies, a low down to 18. And we'll be right back.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
What is us?
Us is a foundation.
Us is the future.
Us is a bond.
But right now, that bond is fraying, and we need a place that could make it whole.
From diabetes prevention to safety around water.
The Y fills the gaps.
And bridges our divides.
But they can't do it without us.
Donate today.
Because where there's a Y, there's an us.
Read by members of the Y.
The Y, for a better us.
Every 17 minutes, Make-A-Wish makes the impossible possible. They tame dragons. They bring Saturn to Earth. They help superheroes save entire cities. They even make unicorns fly. All to give children the strength they need to fight their critical illnesses. Every wish takes muscle. Help us make sure every wish comes true. Join us at wish.org.
Hi, this is Eleanor Arrow from the town of Ulster, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
You're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, 7:32 AM, 18 degrees on this Tuesday, March 2nd. And this upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, 1099 Morton Boulevard in Kingston, their main office. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Cameron Rylance, Nina Postupack, and our first guest. Welcome back.
All right, and we are back.
We are.
We are joined, as we are on the first Tuesday of the month, with Heidi Kirschner. Good morning, Heidi. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. I hope everybody else is doing well on this really, really windy March. Come in like a lion day.
Yeah, and hopefully go out like a lamb. We hope.
It would be pretty awesome if it did that. I think most people are kind of tired of the cold.
But the sun is shining, which isn't bad, so
Yeah.
that helps a little bit.
It does.
And daylight savings is in a couple of weeks,
Yeah, I was
right?
just thinking of that.
Yeah, so
Yes.
light
There's
at the
all
end.
these things you can look forward to, you know. I know it's the winter farm market at the Y stopped this past week. But now they're in the greenhouse doing their little plants to start the, you know, the seeds and everything like that. So I was like, it's such a sign that spring is coming when they, you know, they start to do that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I was walking my dog yesterday, and the house on the corner of St. James and Fair, the shrubs, I looked down, and crocuses, those little, I think they're crocuses, the little spring things were coming out. I was like, look at that.
Yeah,
they threw a little piece of snow. I was like, wow, that's great. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a sign. So how are things at the Y?
Good. I mean, you're managing as best as you can through this.
Keeping all the balls in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's going, and we're hoping that maybe the governor will allow us to increase our capacity from 33 to 50%. I mean, all the numbers are looking good at our facility. Although Ulster County is still, it has its good days and bad days. So you have to keep that in mind as well. So, but we'll see. We're managing. The spaces are busy. That can be used. They're being used. So we like to see that.
Yep.
That's great. Are you utilizing the pool now, Heidi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
as soon as it opened, it was utilized. I mean, it's reservations only, and I mean, there's still slots that are available, but for the most part, it's booked.
That's great.
So, and it's kind of because
let me ask you a question about booking for people. People that don't. Do you have to make a reservation every time you want to go to the Y, or can you say I want to come every Tuesday from 8 to 9? Can you?
Most areas in the Y you have to make a reservation because of the strict capacities. Okay. So we have to make sure that the people who want to use the areas get to use them, and so we for the most part require reservations.
Okay, so you can't block
the next
I'm just trying to think
Tuesdays.
People,
on a weekly basis, you could. Well, yeah. So we limit that.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Good.
So on a weekly basis, depending on the area, like the pool, for example, is super popular. So we limit the number of reservations a person can take during a week period.
Okay. Good.
But they can make their reservations a week in advance. So that it gives them that, because it's really hard if you're real busy, to sit down every day and make a reservation. Yeah. But so we have to make sure everybody gets some opportunity.
That's kind of what I was.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are allowed in the pool at any given time? Like, how many reservations do you allow?
It's 2 per lane. We have 6 lanes.
So 12 people an hour.
Yeah.
An hour increments.
Half-hour increments.
Half-hour, okay.
Because
hour's a lot.
Hour's a lot for
That's
swimming.
true, yeah.
However, I might add that there are an awful lot of swimmers who can easily do an hour. Yeah. We have a lot of master swimmers that can go in and do an hour of swim without a problem.
People who are
Yeah.
Now, was there a swim meet or a swim team this winter, or?
Oh yeah. We've been COVID safe with that. Had the oversight, Department of Health checked in with them, said what can we do, how can we do it, and so we're basically meeting those obligations.
That's cool, because I see the boys. In the paper, because I see Adam Murphy and a couple other guys I know.
The high school swim team is swimming, and they're swimming.
They're all alone, virtual.
They're at the high school.
Yeah. But those aren't, those meets are.
Yeah, so we did.
Is that what you guys will do with the?
We've had 2 meets so far. They're virtual, no parents, nothing, only the swimmers. However, what we've done is made them available on Zoom. So parents can sign on and watch the pool and see their kids swim. So and we've had to test our new systems. We've gotten new touch pads for the pool, new video scoreboard. So we're just working on that.
Those are built in, the touch pads, or are they something that
No, they're portable. You take them out
all right, cool.
when you're done. And so we have them for because we have young swimmers. And typically they do 25 yards. We've gotten touch pads for both sides of the pool. And it makes it makes meets go faster because you're not relying just on manual times.
Yeah.
So if the pads hit, you can you basically in the software will look at the we call it a plunger. So you have the pad, the plunger that's hooked to the pad, and then you have 2 timers, and then all that gets entered into the system, but the computer has the intelligence to know which one to take. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really works well.
Yeah.
So this time of year, Heidi, is blue jeans and bow ties normally, historically.
Yeah, it is typically in March. This year we've pushed it out to June because we feel that's going to be a safer time. And it will be at Wiltwick again this year. We're still going to practice, COVID safe practices. There'll be a lot of the stuff will be outside on the terrace, and then the dinner will be up in their ballroom. the ballroom can accommodate 300 people, and we're probably going to tap it off at 150. And then you have to comply with the governor's COVID requirements with testing and all that. So we're working on that. But I'm hopeful by that time we'll have a good chunk of our population who will have had their vaccinations. So so we're looking forward to kind of trying to get into some sort of normal, frequency. Yeah.
Right.
Return to normalcy.
I know the Boys and Girls Club, they've decided not to do their event this year, but they're still going to do your raffle or your auction, correct?
Right, so we're going right now. We tentatively have our auction scheduled for July.
Oh, July, okay.
And that's tentative. Last year we did the virtual auction, which worked really well. Mm-hmm. So we always have that as a fallback to do that.
But this will be live in person.
Yes.
Oh, that's very good to hear. I'm glad to hear
we're
that.
hoping to, just like you are right now.
Just
that everything
try to
continues
get back to some.
Yes.
Yep, I agree. That's great. So, so we're just chucking along. I don't know.
Dust off all your dress clothes again, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a while since people have
I know.
gotten dressed up.
I know.
Yeah.
My dad's like, I haven't had a tie on in like a year,
I don't know how many people mind that aspect of it, though.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's
COVID casual.
Yeah, well, it does change your attitude about, the work. It's about the work that has to be done, not about the attire,
Yeah, very true.
Right.
Very true.
I know people that haven't had real pants on during the workday in a long time.
Well, I love, because my daughter works from home, right? Yeah. And I love, she has the sweatpants on and everything, and then she has this really nice top on with
sweater,
makeup and everything, because she has her Zoom meetings,
yeah.
but she doesn't have to worry about, so it's funny.
Flip-flops on. You're slapping them under the table while you're talking.
Yeah, so true.
But whatever, it's good. It's we've discovered a lot of things.
We have
here, and we are. I mean, as far as being shut down in our community, we're coming up to a 1 year. Yes. 1 year mark.
13th, Friday the 13th. I remember distinctly.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. It is hard to believe. It really is. I saw something in the paper, Heidi, on bike repair.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's So there's some. We did it last year because it's so easy and safe for the most part to do. So we call them repair cafes. It's a collaboration. I mean, between our bike and then we have I think there's Bike Friendly Kingston, and then there's a couple other organizations that participate. But it gives the people an opportunity to come to the Y and get some basic repairs. We're not going to do an overhaul because it's just meant to come in, kind of do your thing and get out. Teach people, how to fix a flat or whatever. But last year we did it, I think 2 or 3 times last year. And it was astounding the number of people we had come to the repair cafe.
Biking has blown up.
Yeah, it has. It's good. I mean,
it's great. And Kingston's a really bikeable town, with the future Broadway improvements that are coming and the rail trails and just the country roads. I mean, biking is a great.
We have, and Tom's built such a great educational program for biking, especially with youth. But now, since the COVID pandemic, we really see that adults, seniors, it could be such a great activity for them. And so we've got a couple of grants out there looking for adult tricycles, so that folks who just don't feel confident, or they're more senior and don't feel confident with being on a 2-wheel bike. We have some 3-wheel bikes.
Yeah.
And you can still do the bike rides and learn about bike safety, go on the bike trails. I mean, that's part of the program, is you get to explore all these different trails and ride on them. And then if you don't have a bike, we have bikes that you can use for the program. And getting people outdoors and enjoying everything that this county has to offer is, what we want to do. And it's healthy. And it's safe.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So got a couple of those going. So that's exciting. We typically have our Healthy Kids Day, Kids Classic, but this year, again, it's just not one of those things we can do. So it's just going to have to wait till next year.
Yep.
But it's all right.
And you still have your after-school program that you're doing?
Yeah, we're running the after-school program. It's hard. because you just don't get the numbers really that you need. But it's a commitment as long as we can balance it and absorb, what the cost is, because we're not earning it.
Are you restricted? Why are your numbers down because of people or restrictions?
You got a couple of things going on. I mean, you've got scheduling that's in every school district is different. You have off days, you have on days. You have off weeks, you have on weeks. You have within the week, you have total virtual days, and so it's a lot of scheduling for parents. A lot of parents may not be back to work yet because of that, and transportation. If the school can't get transportation on those, so and I'm not faulting the school at all, because they've got enough on their plate, but it's just there's so many elements and parameters that are making it truly difficult to participate in aftercare, even if you wanted to,
Those are variables I hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
Because on the surface of it, you hear, must be packed.
Right, because
parents need the child care, but I didn't realize all the obstacles in the way.
So like our one of our busier sites, it didn't start out that way, but is our Kingston facility, because it can be consistent every single day. But you just have to carry on. It's so needed. I mean, for the 100 or so people who are using it,
100% need it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had to make some changes in one of the other townships, and there was a population that got hurt by it, and I felt bad, but it's like I couldn't absorb the cost of 2 locations that we're losing, so you had to you have to make that tough decision. And so I sympathize, and again, there's also, it's not free. We do our best and have gotten a lot of funding. It's still not free, and parents were not expecting to pay for childcare during the school year, during school hours.
Right.
So it's tough for a lot of families, but we've been lucky. Ulster Resilience has helped us a lot with covering as much cost as possible. So that's been a big help. And that stopped, though, in January. So that, it's tough. And, that can't go on forever. We're constantly looking for opportunities to help, So it's strange times. But it's needed, and you have to hope that it gets better. And I hope maybe after spring break, there might be an opportunity to get the kids back into school, into some sort of, if the numbers can go down, if we take care of ourselves and try to do what's right. But it's, and I don't blame, we've got so many variants of this, COVID that, you think you got it, and then you might not, So, but.
Are you doing the Y Academy also still?
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother separate component from the aftercare.
Yeah. So
right?
that's during the day, and a lot of it just tacks on to those schools. So we have the before care, we have a full day program, and then the aftercare.
And the full day programs at the Y, or is that in
at
the schools?
Y and at the schools? So at some schools, not all of them can do it. And a lot of it's space. They've cleared out their classrooms to accommodate as many students as possible. And they have to have some place to put that stuff. And the only big empty space available is cafeterias, know. And that's typically where you run a lot of your programs. So it's challenging. It's challenging, really challenging for the schools. And I don't think I'd like to be a superintendent right now.
No, I have to agree with you there, Heidi.
Because you've got metrics that you're trying to attain and keep, and I think it really, as a community, we have to really look at education and how do you keep that interest of learning going at all times, and And it truly does, it takes an entire community to, really say, what are we going to do to keep our kids interested in learning? Yeah. And that's the key, or at least.
And we really know for quite a bit of, a long period of time, what the ramifications or what the results are going to be of a year of remote learning. We won't see that in the next year or two. It's going to be
You're probably not going to see it.
Yes.
For the younger kids, it might be a full decade.
Right. Exactly.
For the older kids, you're going to start to see it probably 5 years, 6 years, where those gaps existed. And, and we're in the throes of it right now, but I think as a community, we really have to say, where did we fall short? And it's not pointing fingers at anyone. It's just, where did we fall short? And let us not ever have this happen to us again.
Yes, and what can we do better?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I think about, that whole electrical debacle in Texas, but you look at El Paso, and they had this happen to them 10 years ago, where they totally lost electric. They were, dependent. Their whole structure was so aged, and they made the commitment, the huge financial commitment, to correct it. And they didn't have a shutdown like the rest of Texas did. So it's just, that same logic. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts at the present to make that commitment.
That was mind-boggling what happened.
I never realized that Texas wasn't on the national grid.
Oh, no, they're their own country.
I have to be honest with you. I was shocked. You're right.
Oh, Texas.
They're just like with the...
I come from Texas, but there is that mentality, it's just like,
We're Texas.
We're Texas,
But the water, that
too.
Hospitals had water pipes freezing. It's like... we live in the Northeast. There's inside walls, and
there's the structure and everything else.
Crazy.
But for many, structures in Texas, the pipes are on the external walls. They're not insulated.
Yeah,
they're not. So but then you say, will this ever happen again? Do we need to, invest? Spend a lot of money investing?
Billions.
Yeah. So
change building codes, and
Yeah.
Was your family affected? You still have family, right?
Oh yeah. So it was a lot of the same things where some not at all. It's funny. My parents really minimally not at all, and I was glad about that.
Yeah.
But then I had siblings who didn't have water. I had one sibling whose pipes froze, and how they do their water and stuff in Texas is different than we did. So it, totally leaked into a ceiling, and then broke everything up. And so they got a lot of cleanup and a lot of work to do. But, compared to others, they were not affected extremely bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
And just the traffic fatalities. And
that was horrendous.
Oh, goodness.
And I've driven that highway where that pileup happened so many times. And you can see it because those highways in Texas, you don't know whether you're going, 80, 85 feels like 60.
Oh, really? So
it's just
big and flat and straight.
Yep. And but when you start getting rain that's slippery, their highways just aren't able to accommodate. They're slippery because of the oil and stuff that gets on the roads. And you can easily see how it happened. And it's awful, yeah. Very.
They just weren't equipped for that type of weather.
No, and it was really funny because most townships they don't have a snow plows. Why would they?
Right.
Maybe out in some of the territory where they have bad weather, but most of the places don't have snow plows.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
At least your family's
safe.
Yeah, everyone was safe.
Yes.
And, little property damage.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy because they were talking just the week before it happened. They were saying, we've got all these nice blossoms on our fruit trees and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's probably going to hurt oranges.
If it, whatever is grown in that area of Texas, if it had, and I was like, and then the following week, it's like, the blossoms are beautifully encased in ice. But it happens.
Yep.
And let's just hope they get through it. They've had a couple of bad years between the flooding and hurricanes, and Now ice.
Yes, and I read just recently too, the gas prices are going up because of everything that happened down in Texas. So many things are impacted by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hope, because natural disasters are very difficult to recover from, and
I think they're going to be more frequent because of our climate change. That it truly is happening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look at our weather. I mean, crazy. Last year we had like no snow. This year is normal. It's up and down.
And didn't just recently an iceberg break away? Did you
it's
see
the size
that?
of mammoth. Like a huge crack.
I know, that's
it's as big as like New York City. This iceberg.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I just saw this. Our friend Allie Mitchell, I see, won an indoor track meet.
Yeah.
In the parking garage at the Palisades Mall, which is pretty. They have a 300-meter loop set up, and
cool.
I think that's pretty neat.
It is. I've seen her out running with her mom.
Yeah,
that's great. That's even
the pool.
How much more impressive is that?
Yeah, that's great.
You get them in the pool, and
I know.
they're tremendous athletes.
It's just like, whew, to be able to continue on, to enjoy the sport and be able to do the sport with your
at a high level,
18-year-old daughter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, but a great role model for many.
Absolutely.
Just to keep on trucking.
Yeah, definitely. Heidi, can you give us a little information, like what's up and coming?
Oh, absolutely. So we have our camp registration is open. So anybody can go online and register for camp right now, and it's amazing. It's really busy. We've got great plans. We ran our camps last year, of course, meeting the restrictions with 0 incidents of COVID. 0.
Are there different restrictions in place this summer, or is it same as?
We're going to probably run it about the same. The differential might be the capacities will loosen up. So we were running at, again, I think it was 30% or something like that. So we might be at 50% or a little bit more. So we anticipate that those restrictions will loosen up. But we're, for the most part, going to run it the same way we did.
Normal, 6 sessions or whatever it is? Or?
We'll have the same sessions. It depends on the camp. Our Camp Siwakamono runs through the whole entire summer. But Wilt Meet, which is in New Paltz, runs 6 weeks. We have our Starfish in Kingston that runs 6 weeks. And hopefully we're talking with the town of Esopus, and they've asked if we would do the camp program this year. So we hope to run that for 6 weeks as well.
Cool. Great.
So
all those signups will be available online, I'm assuming, right?
They're available right now, other than the new one that we're working on, but they're available right now, and we have a lot of people signing up. So go sign up. It's a great time. You can plan. If you have looking for something for your grandparents to give you, camp is a wonderful gift to give your grandchildren.
There you go.
So, you can go on and sign up. And they're really fun. I mean, and this year especially with kids being cooped up.
Oh, goodness.
I don't even think I'm going to mention the word tablet. I mean, those are going to be off limits this summer.
I know, right?
I bet you won't have much pushback from parents.
I bet you won't.
In a quote unquote normal year, our son, they have to have their tablet. I'm sure a lot of parents would love their kids to get unconnected.
So you can just access any of this stuff. Go to our website, and if you're interested in camp, go to camp. It allows you to go right there, and you can be connected to register right there. We're hopeful soon that we'll open up swim lessons again, and we still have some Chris Bamba scholarship money that we've been holding on to for, in his memory, that his friends collected, and we definitely, want to get people in learning to swim. So many people don't know how, and especially in Chris's memory, if there's teenagers or young adults out there who don't know how to swim, honor him and come learn how to swim.
Yeah.
And don't worry about, we'll work it out. However, don't worry about saying, oh, I can't afford it, I can't pay it. He's got scholarship, and I think it would make him feel so happy, and his friends would feel awesome knowing that people who knew him are now stepping up and saying, I need to learn how to swim.
Potentially saving lives.
Yep.
I mean, it's not.
It's a life skill.
It's not corny at all
Yeah.
to say that.
No.
Potentially saving someone's life.
So it's a life skill. And then we have some other great programs. I wish I could some virtual programs. We've got some STEAM. We've got Girls Right Kingston. It's a lovely program with a collaboration of Bard professors and students. It's just phenomenal what we've grown into and are starting and working on, just to develop all sorts of interests. And we're looking forward to some sort of normalcy, but it's not going to stop us from charging ahead and doing what people in the community or populations in the community have asked us for.
Yeah.
He's
So,
done a
being responsive like
job.
that is huge. I mean,
I have great staff. I mean, they listen, they work hard, really hard this past year, but they really have a passion for knowing what people are feeling right now and trying to make it better. So, and we're encouraged. We have a lot of great plans. I mean, I'm encouraged because our ladies' locker room, I think, will be done within the next week or two at last.
Wow.
And it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so nice.
Functional and
yeah,
nice.
it's so pretty. I mean, it's not as big as the men's room. We know that, everyone knows, but we've really made it pretty. I said I want it to be nice for the ladies. And it's just nice,
Well, it's perfect timing. Spring is coming.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
Hopefully more people will be allowed in the Y. Brand new women's facility. So
it's nice.
It's a good sign. It's like positive energies building.
Yeah, a lot. We've done a lot, really a lot. It's the silver lining. You say, wow, COVID. Well, there's aspects of COVID that were dreadful. But there was aspects for us that allowed us to get some work done that
a lot easier with less people in the building to work.
Oh, absolutely. And, try to plan and get that stuff done. And we had a lot of people I help us with. I have to tip my hat to Dennis Larios. I mean, he was there. He still is there every single day checking on stuff. He's the chair of our buildings committee. And, God, I mean, it's through volunteers like that really help us, and working with the companies here, helping us out, working with Herzogs and saying, hey, we need this, can you do this? And that might not be a normal thing for them, but they bent over backwards to help us.
Well, we're getting
out of time.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Heidi.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Heidi Kirschner, our guest for this last half hour, and it is 8 o'clock a.m., 8:01 a.m., Tuesday, March 2nd. 18 degrees here now in uptown Kingston. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union, 1099 Morton Boulevard in Kingston. And today's weather and forecast for Kingston and the surrounding areas. Today, partly cloudy with a high of 33. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low 23. And Wednesday, generally sunny with a few passing clouds, a high of 47. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, which means partly sunny. I'm sorry, that's Wednesday night. Wednesday night is partly cloudy, a low of 29. And Thursday, sunny skies, high of 36. Thursday night, clear skies, a low of 18. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. We are a global force for good. Support causes that matter. Change lives. Change communities. Change the world. We can do more together than we can alone. Join in. Experience the joy of serving. Be part of the movement. Give back. Let's unite the world for good. We are Lions. You can be too. Visit weserve.org.
Hey there.
What's up, bruh?
Hello.
Aloha.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hola.
Hi.
It takes a lot of voices to create the sound of us. The Y welcomes all of them with open arms. From career readiness to safe spaces, the Y is there, no matter who we are. Now, more than ever, they need your support. Donate to your local Y today. The Y, for a better us.
Read by members of the Y.
Hi, this is Scott Harrington from Hurley, and I support Kingston Community Radio because the people need a place to have their voice heard, and it's lost in corporate radio, so please keep listening and supporting our station.
You're listening to WGHQ AM 920 and 92.5 FM and streaming online at mykcr.org. My name is Dan Gatus, and it is 8:04 a.m., Tuesday, March 2nd, 18 degrees here in uptown Kingston, and it is a terrific Tuesday with Nina Postupack and Cameron Rylance. This upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Kingston Lions Club, serving the Kingston, Ulster County area since 1941. Call 901-9067 for more information. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Cameron and Nina and our new guest. Welcome back.
All right. Yes, that's 1700. Our new guest, Bill Merchant.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Looking forward to spring, like everybody, right?
Yes.
Look, it's 8 o'clock, and it's time for birthday. So, Bill, you got to hold up for one moment, please.
No problem.
So, today, March 2nd, looks like we have a couple of them, right?
We do.
So, ladies first. Go ahead. Why don't you read yours?
Okay, I have, please wish a happy birthday to Danny Hole from your friends at People's Place. We hope you enjoy your special day. And I have a special birthday. Tomorrow is my mom's birthday.
Oh.
So happy birthday to my mom. Yeah, March 3rd.
And so I have one more for March 2nd, and I want to wish a happy birthday to Maggie Myers from your family and friends. So let's put this in the randomizer and come up with our winner. Wow, that was a good one.
Oh, that was something.
So, Maggie Myers, congratulations. You are the winner of today's Boyce Brothers Dairy Cow Pie giveaway. So, go see the folks at Boyce Brothers Dairy and collect your winnings. Congratulations. So, listeners, send them in.
Yes, right, Dan?
You too can get in on this.
Yep, get in on it.
Good stuff. So,
mail them in. That's the best way.
That's right.
Post
Mail
Office
them, call
Box
'em.
4364, 12402, or email them to kcr921@gmail.com.
There you go. All right. So, Bill, good morning. Welcome back. Now let's start over again. Bill
Merchant's here from the
resident historian and
well, I mean, you've got a great resident historian in
Nancy Chando, yes.
Well, and Taylor, of course, the town.
Oh yes,
Taylor, yes, right, yes.
Well, you're a canal expert. From
there's a lot of great historians in the area. It's a wonderful bunch of folks, and
a lot of history.
In fact, the History Alliance of Kingston rolled out their Black History project a week ago yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And it's now up. You can actually see the presentation. We're reaching out to the public to see if we can uncover stories of African American life in the Hudson Valley.
Which is a great, initiative.
We all have a little bits of stories. I've done some research, and I can tell you a little bit about the black experience on the D&H Canal. But it occurred to us that with all of us each sort of looking this way or that way, maybe if we pooled our resources, we might sort of right the horrible wrong that marginalized populations were not recorded in history.
Yeah. Yes. And then last week the on Pine Street,
the Pine Street,
the African burial ground, that deed was turned over from the land trust to Harambe, who will be, I guess operating. Caring for that land, moving forward, which
hopefully
is
maybe cleaning it, restoring it, and celebrating it.
Huge recognition of, the righting the wrong of their forgotten history.
Yes.
So
we'll never completely right that wrong.
No.
But we got to
try.
We have to try.
It's the right direction. It's a shift and it's a start. So it's.
Well, it'll be exciting to see. I think already responses, people are adding stuff. We're reaching out to families, anybody that's got stories to tell. about their, one of the questions somebody asked is, well, gee, when does it become history? And I said, well, if you didn't learn that you're living through history on January 6th, you just, basically history is going on now.
Yes,
in many
history is
instances.
being made every day.
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID alone, the pandemic.
As we're closing into a year of this shutdown with way too many people dead.
Yes, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, we're all clamoring for our vaccine.
Yes, we are.
I heard a pundit saying that, by the, if you can ever say this ends, we'll be approaching the number of deaths from the Civil War.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal number.
680,000 or something like that, which is, what a milestone, geez Louise,
Yeah, right. Who wants to reach that?
War,
Absolutely.
COVID, geez, ouch.
Yeah, well, it didn't have to be be.
No.
We won't go there. And, we'll just,
enough of COVID. So anyhow, so this is a pretty cool, you brought in obviously this was typed some time ago.
Actually a blow-up of the back of Ed Leroy's book.
Oh, okay.
Kind of the first
but this is,
secondary source on the D&H Canal published in the 1950s.
But you can tell this is pecked out on a typewriter.
Yeah.
Boat names, a list of boat names from canal barges.
Well, the D&H Canal, when they would sell you the boat, so you would pay, $10 to $20 per trip, depending on which period in time, of the money that you earned would go towards buying the boat. The boats were $400 in the earliest period, and as much as $1,400 in the latter period. And so you got a number, and it was the company's boat, and it had a number, and it was registered with that number. When you paid it off, you owned it, and so part of how they signified that is you put a name on it. Now you own your boat. And
instead of a nice number. Yeah. Before it was, barge 99 or whatever.
Generally 4-digit numbers for whatever reasons. I don't think I ever saw boat 1. I think they all had variations on. They must have started at 1,000. But yes, if you proudly paid off, not only did you walk home with more money in your pocket at the end of the season, but you proudly named the boat. I haven't started collecting boat names. As I read the 5,000 pages of court testimony, there's a lot of boat names, and maybe in my second go round I'll start calling them.
But it's interesting, you got the owners of these boats. A lot of these names are still, Davenport, Schneider, Van Wagenen, Schoonmakers, DeWitts. These are all people that,
a lot of the Dutch families that settled here in the 17th century.
They're still here. Reynolds, Cornell, Yapel.
The Schoonmakers who own, I should just say now, tragically Alice Schoonmaker passed last fall, but Jack Schoonmaker, the owners of Saunderskill Farm, tell the story that back when the canal came through, the family gave up because they've been the Schoonmaker family has been farming the same plot of land since I think it's 1672. Lived in the same stone building. When the D&H Canal came through, they had a lot of property, and they ceded about 10 acres to the canal company. But they got the canal company to make the canal sort of veer further west than it had to, so that it went right past their stone house, and they operated a store. So basically, early on, the family said, well, sure, we'll give up that 10 acres. We're going to have a way to get our product to market, but would you mind moving it this way a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, right.
And so the old canal bed passes within 50 foot of the
politics.
Schoonmaker. Well, you give me something, I'll give you something.
Yeah, well, that's why Ulster County has 3 thruway exits. It's a little horse trading going on. But there's a packet boat. The name is Daniel Webster. That's interesting.
And packet boats carried passengers and mail.
Yeah.
And they had packets that went across the Atlantic Ocean, and they had packets on all the canals. We don't have as many pictures of them because the railroads were able to capture human traffic sooner than they could capture heavy traffic.
Just because they couldn't pull.
Yeah, it took a while to get the technology to where you could weigh up, now we know railroads can carry huge amounts, but it didn't start that way. So we don't have a lot of pictures of packet boats because the photographic era starts to take off at about the same time as the railroad industry. And so, it was nice to take a canal trip, but boy, you couldn't travel on a canal boat in the winter. It was 3 miles per hour. Trains basically got passenger traffic, but we know there were many packet boats from the historic record. And as you say, the Daniel Webster.
I think this is really interesting that it says here they drew every imaginable subject. So they went from flowers, naming the right boats after rose, sun, flower, daisy. They named it after trees, birds, the eagle, the lark, and then they picked historical great names like Cleopatra, Noah, Columbus, Santa Claus, Indians, Pocahontas,
Isaac Newton.
Yeah. It's really interesting, all the different things that they named them after. And then especially like patriots like George Washington, Henry Clay, Patrick Henry, and even after some campaigns, Vicksburg, right? It went from everything, from flowers to generals.
Like, you had so many different people, and different people have different interests. And if you had a boat, what would you name it? There's a fun. Maybe I'll have to run that.
Oh, that's a great question.
What would you name your boat?
That is a great question.
That would be a fun.
I like the one female sailor. Joseph Snyder named it female sailor. What that represented to him. That's an interesting one. And Santa Claus, like you said, is another one.
And there's Pete Hickson, who was a colored captain, probably from Port Hickson, which was down in south of Alligerville, I'm going to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think his Port Hickson was, there's all these port towns along. You'll see them all along the thruway too. Brockport. These were Erie Canal ports. The same thing, So Kerhonkson was known as Middleport. Accord was Port Jackson, presumably because of Andrew Jackson.
Really?
I've spoken to the local historians there, and nobody could tell me of a famous Jackson from Accord, but the rise of Anthony Jackson comes at the same time as the canal opens. He gets elected, and I think it's 28. He's the first populist president.
Right.
Prior to that, it was unseemly to actually pursue elected office. Your friends put you up. Oh, my friends said I have to. So famously, Philip Hone is the first president of the D&H, but his friends want him to be mayor of New York City, and so he steps down, figuring.
Really? Huh?
Yeah.
Hone was a mayor of New York City?
Yes. Huh. Yes. I would have been in 26. I don't know how long he served for, but he stepped down as president of the D&H Canal Company, although he stayed on their board and was a stockholder and board member the rest of his life.
Wow, I did not realize that.
I mean, that's why they name the Forks of Dyeberry Honesdale, because they name it after Philip Hones. They named Wurtsboro after
Pennsylvania, really?
Yes, was named for the first president.
I didn't realize Hones.
Port Jervis for John Jervis, the second chief engineer of the D&H Canal. They tried to rename Eddyville Bolton, but nobody liked John Bolton.
Really?
Apparently, it was the one that never stuck, and it seems like he wasn't a very popular character, and there may have been a correlation. He was their second president, their first treasurer, and then he replaces Hone. He's not too successful. And by 1830 or 31, they bring in John Wirtz, one of the Wirtz brothers, and he leads them to a great success by the 1840s. All of a sudden, they start really.
But all through those, the Wirtz, the Hones, they were all like original stockholders, or were they some of the men that started?
Yeah, they were kind of the progenitors, if you will, the people that started the canal. It's funny because it's these Philadelphia dry goods merchants who get the idea, and when they can't compete in Philadelphia, they set their sights on New York City. They get the permissions from both Pennsylvania and New York to build a canal because they needed that. But they quickly get taken over by New York City people. Boom! It's just all the stuff. There's a few upstaters on the board as if a sop to the locals. But for the most part, New York City interests take it over. They have offices in New York. Well, most of the coal is just time for New York City, so it sort of made sense.
And then it became a publicly traded company, right?
From the start. It was the first $1 million private enterprise in American history. January 8th of 1825, they oversell their stock in a couple hours by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And how do they do that? They prove you can burn anthracite coal. Stone coal, it was called. There's stories of people getting stone coal, anthracite coal, unable to burn it. In frustration, they lined the streets with it, which must have been kind of pretty, that nice black, shiny rock.
Yeah,
right.
The trick was you had to have a lot of air. You had to start a really hot hardwood fire first, and then you needed enough oxygen to get it going. And in fact, the D&H Canal Company has special grates made once they prove you can burn it. So blacksmiths knew about this stuff since before the Revolutionary War. They loved it. Burned longer and hotter. So if you were a blacksmith in 1770, you'd have to stop halfway through your day and start a whole new fire. With anthracite, you could just start in the morning and go the whole day. And it made a better product. We now know it carbonized. It made something closer to steel because of something about the way the chemistry worked.
Now I know, like the kilns, the limestone kilns, like they, had they stuffed. I've seen a diagram. I think at the museum. They stuffed it with wood. Started this huge wood fire, and then it started.
Well, they would layer the dolomitic limestone. If we're talking about cement, which they discovered this natural cement near here while digging the D&H canal. Yes, they used hardwood, but almost immediately they went over to anthracite coal.
I just said to get the coal lit, they had to start it, and then
Well, once you got your fire going, you alternated stone and coal and stone and coal. A guy by the name of Lawrence Watts, Watson Lawrence. I'm going to get the
there you go.
Lawrenceville. All those first names confuse me. He designs the continuous draw kiln in 1830. And that means that instead of stopping between burns, you can just keep adding material.
Oh.
They had to stop yearly because they had to reline them with the fire brick.
Oh.
That was tremendous heat. I don't know the exact temperatures. And so you had a special brick that lined all the kilns. Well, that brick was renewed, I think, annually.
Because the cooked rock would fall out of the bottom of them, right?
You start at the top, and then you're pulling out the hopefully properly calcined product at the bottom. If you overdo it, you get clinkers. They won't grind up, and they don't make cement. And if you undercook, I think they just threw it back on. So somebody at the bottom had to be sort of sorting through. And then
rocks.
It changes chemically and becomes more friable. So it becomes such that you can grind it into a powder.
They would grind it up, bag it. That's
huge industry. In fact, the D&H Canal operates for the last 20 years of its life. It's basically bringing coal in from the Hudson River now to supply the cement makers between High Falls and Rondout. Samuel Kirkendall is buying up all the cement companies. He's going to have a monopoly. It's a very popular thing in that era. And so he buys up all the cement companies and then continues operating the canal.
Now, did they use coal for the brick industry?
They did.
On the Hudson? And then where did they get that from? Through the D&H?
Well, it would have been through the D&H. And they also found that if they used coal dust as part of the brick, it made the brick burn better.
Yeah, because the brick would actually start to burn.
Yeah, so they actually put a little bit of fine coal dust as part of the mix when they made it.
And it made them lighter and stronger and
made a better brick, right? And the D&H company at one point unsuccessfully experimented compressing. They had a lot of coal dust apparently.
Yeah,
right.
Compressing it into bricks to make a product that you could burn. It was ultimately unsuccessful, but they bought some machinery to compress it down and had it around out, and it was just something when reading through the historical record, you notice, oh well, that didn't work. It was very much like the D&H Canal Company to be an innovator at every turn.
Trying to use a waste product,
And first they extended their markets. They first proved you could burn the stuff, and they get their $1.5 million is actually what they got on that first stock offering. They figure out a way to encourage you to burn it, so they start selling you a grate that burns it better. They go after the steamboat industry in the 1830s. They actually give, I'll get his name here. Let's see, it was the president of Union College and his son, and it was a patented tubular boiler. The name is escaping me, but they actually gave the man. He designs a special tubular boiler to burn anthracite on steamboats, and they give the family 1,500 shares of stock or something like that, and a seat on the board for a year, in a successful attempt to basically capture that market.
Yeah.
But it made sense. Coal has more BTUs per square inch than a piece of wood, so you could load on more energy onto
fuel, or more energy.
And it wound up being cheaper at a certain point. I mean, we needed the coal by the early 19th century because we had not exhausted, but certainly we're using more wood than we were growing, if you will.
Yeah,
especially east of the Appalachians, as I always point out.
Well, you look at old photographs, there's nary a tree in sight.
Oh yeah, all the historic, I get people talking about, historic view sheds. You haven't seen any.
Yeah, well, there was zero trees in the Catskills.
20th century growth. Yeah, no.
The hemlocks, the Catskills were denuded.
Well, for the tanning industry, amongst other things, sure.
Yeah, unbelievable.
A friend of mine used to have a place over by Little Mountain, overlooking the Ashokan. And I'm hiking up the mountain. We're at 45-degree angle. We're almost at the top of this little mountain. There are farmers' fences. Some poor, and I mean poor because he couldn't get the really good farmland.
Sure.
Cleared and farmed at a 45-degree on the side of a mountain. That's how much pressure there was. How many people wanted to have their own farms? And so you drive around now and you see those stone fences going out into the woods.
Yeah, wherever there's a
I'm
rock
scratching my head
wall.
going, why did those farmers put those rock walls on the oh, wait a minute, look at the size
that
of those
was
trees.
here's
Oh, they're not, wait a minute.
Or, a pasture wall or agricultural wall. Actually, it's funny. That book that you recommended, Reading the Forested Landscape.
Yes.
You
Incredible.
can tell there's clues. If all the rocks are really big, it was probably just a pasture because little rocks don't matter. But if there's a lot of smaller rocks in the stone wall, it was farm field because they would try to get as many stones out as possible.
And every winter, you get a new crop of stones because it would,
growing rocks.
frost heave would pull up more.
Yeah, growing
If you
rocks.
just go throw them over on the side of the field. It was A, you had to get them out of the way, and B, it was a cheap way to close off. Try and keep things out.
You want to break your single plow blade.
Yeah, sure.
In the 1800s, there was almost no forest in this whole area.
Yeah.
It was because it was
houses and fuel.
It was a sheep. What would you call it? A sheep fad, also during that.
And they ate everything.
Yeah.
Sheep.
Well, everything east of the Appalachians had been heavily settled since 1619.
Yeah.
So that pressure, you're using wood to burn. You're building your houses out. You're building everything out of it. Eventually that shifts. But by the time the D&H story starts, I say the War of 1812, we're already in an energy crisis. We need another source of fuel, and that's why the D&H is so important to the history of the country. Yeah. I mean, there were other anthracite canals, but of course the D&H is the most important one.
All
of them. There was a bunch of them in Pennsylvania,
serving
and
the
they all have their
biggest market in the country, and this timing and the people involved, titans of industry. So it's
Well, in 1812, Philadelphia is the largest city in America. By 1820, New York has now overtaken it. And so it was a natural market when the Wirtz brothers, whose fields were further afield from, so you had the Lehigh Valley coal, it was cheaper, the Schuylkill Valley coal, that all got to Philadelphia and serviced that market. By the time the Wirtz brothers coal from further up that way got in there, it was, it cost you more to get it to market, now your margins are up. But what do? They turn around and dig this technological wonder of a 108-mile long canal, go all the way up to Kingston, New York, still to get to New York City, and yet it was successful. Yeah. I mean, was it 1863? They paid 34% on their stock during the Civil War.
Wow.
There's a stock you want, right?
War,
That was an investment, right?
And you had guys like
GameStop. That one we
J. Pierpont Morgan, Cornell, Astor, all served on the board of the D&H. It was a sought-after chair if you were a titan.
Now, which Astor was that?
John Jacob.
Was John Jacob Astor?
Yep, John Jacob Astor was on the board for, I don't have
Who was, Robert Barron at the first magnitude,
Well,
J.P. Morgan as well,
Yeah, both of them, and Cornell, more of a local light, but Thomas Cornell was on the board in the latter period of his life as well. So you got the big boys in there.
Everybody.
But there's always this story about when Philip Hone, the story goes that the company was going to go under for one of, I think it was $20,000. And Philip Hone leaves the board meeting and he goes home, and they always word it this way. He thought about the widows and orphans that had invested in the stock, maybe because of him. And he said, I've got to help these people out. And he loans the company the $20,000 and saves them in a single, But every time I hear the story, I'm always going, how many widows and orphans were playing the stock market in 1830?
Yeah, well,
really? Yeah, that's it. Dad died, so we're going to buy stock. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that's the way the story is
It's
always told. So there's got to be some truth in it. And I think it started with, I think Philip Hone in his diaries puts
was
it
he a
that way.
religious man, do you know?
Probably, I've read his diaries, and I wasn't thinking of it from that standpoint. So, I think most people were in that era.
Quite. I mean, the Smiley brothers, and there was a lot of.
Well, and the Wirtz brothers, Quakers.
Yeah.
And a sect which, to my mind, really lives their religion more than other. Not to knock on religions, but Quakers, pacifists, leaders in the abolition movement throughout the 19th century. You look at the Smileys having a conference on the quote-unquote Indian problem. Well, the problem was they had been pushed out and were being decimated. But
European diseases,
And then I think in the First World War, they have a conference at Mohawk, a peace conference, maybe the beginnings of what eventually becomes the UN, I think, starts it because the Smileys are a family that to this day, presumably, live their religion.
Yeah.
The Bruderhof are a local sect too that seem to go out and do stuff for the community in a way that I think sometimes other religions
do not.
So, yeah.
Have fallen very short, yes.
Yes.
Particularly.
Great. So we've gone from politics to religion.
Yeah,
So
I know. I don't know how that happened.
Phone's going to start ringing. Yeah, you're going to start getting complaints. I don't know where I was going with this. But anyhow, so springtime in the canal, right? We're heading into spring. I imagine, boats would be iced up, fixing damage.
They would have spent the winter
damage on the
repairing
canal. I mean, lock doors could probably get broken.
Well, even the locks were, most of the locks, not the ones in High Falls, those were built in the 1850s when they rerouted, and those were dry laid precision cut stone, but most of the locks were just dry laid stone and then lined with white oak to make it watertight. And that white oak only lasted maybe 10 years. In fact, I see in their annual reports, I think it's in 39, they're apologizing for the high cost of repairs that season. And I go, I'll bet you a lot of the white oak was gone about then, because the boats only lasted 5 to 10 years, made of white oak as well, a rot-resistant wood, but eventually nothing's forever. And, certainly the lock. So in the winter, that you'd be repairing the wooden lining anywhere that it needs to be repaired. When they were doing enlargements, they would enlarge. And even in the final enlargement, it took them a couple seasons to get every little choke point cleaned out. So you had that kind of stuff. And typically navigation could open as early as April.
So there's no ice, right? I mean,
it just depends on the weather, typically April to November, December was the...
And I'm sure in the spring, there's always plenty of water in the spring, so there's never...
Sometimes too much so. So you had the damage caused by the spring freshets, very famous floods across that 75-year period when they were the most active. But that was you're in the canal biz, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, so look we've burned through a half hour. So, Bill, thank you very much.
How does that happen?
I don't know, Bill, but we go.
Religion and politics. You talk
about it.
Give the people what they want.
That's right.
I don't know.
Head and circus. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. And
a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I always look forward to my early mornings.
And
we'll see you next month.
April.
Maybe we'll all be warmer.
Yeah, we'll be bundled up. That's for sure.
Exactly. So excellent. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, Dan, take it away.
Thank you, Nina Postupack, Cameron Rylance, and a very, very special thanks to Bill Merchant, D&H Canal Museum. And it's at the bottom of the hour, and you're with us on Kingston Community Radio, KCR AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. It's 8:30 a.m. this Tuesday, March 2nd, 18 degrees here in Uptown Kingston. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by the Kingston Lions Club. And they're serving the Ulster County area since 1941. Call them at 901-9067, 845-901-9067 for more information. Mid-Hudson Valley weather and forecast today, partly cloudy, partly sunny, a high of 33. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 23. Wednesday, generally sunny with a few passing clouds, a high of 47. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, a low of 29. And Thursday, sunny skies, a high of 36. And Thursday night, clear skies, a low of 18 again. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed, support causes that matter, change lives, change communities, change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
I may never have met you. We don't go way back. Maybe we wouldn't even be friends if we did. But when you wear a mask, you have my respect. Because your mask doesn't protect you. It protects me. I wear my mask to protect you. Mask up, America.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm from Copiague, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back. Today's Tuesday, March 2nd, 18 degrees here in Uptown Kingston, and you're with us on KCR, Kingston Community Radio, WGHQ, 920 on your AM dial, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. This upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Rondout Savings Bank. Rondout Savings, always working for you and our community with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park. Also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. And let's get back to the on-air studio for this upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio. Terrific Tuesday. Welcome back.
And we are back.
Yes, for our last half hour.
Yep. And that was interesting.
That was very interesting.
Nancy, call right back, please.
Now we have another historian, Nancy Chando.
She was calling when I was on the air.
Now since Bill's schedule was rearranged, he changed slots.
Yes.
This is, I think, the first time that we've had both of them on.
It's nice back to back like that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. A little bit of history, and Nancy always has great topics that she presents, and this week she has a great one too.
Yep.
So we're gonna
famous photo.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she's on the.
She is on.
Yes.
All right, Nancy. Good morning. How are you?
Hi. Good morning. How's everybody?
We are just dandy.
We're good.
We are excited to have this is our full history hour with Bill Merchant, and now with you here, we're dispensing knowledge by the bucketful today. So that's great.
That's great. Yes, I was listening to Bill. He's always very interesting.
But
good morning. I'm so happy to be back.
Yes, well, we're glad you're with us. But before we jump into your topic, I want you to share. You shared something on Facebook that I saw the other day commemorating someone's birthday.
Yes.
Why don't you just, and I asked Nina if she saw it. I don't think she did.
I didn't, and he wouldn't let me take a
No,
sneak.
why don't you tell us what you posted? It's pretty cool.
Sure, yes. I posted something on Facebook February 25th for my buddy's birthday. My buddy is George Harrison from the Beatles. And when I was a kid, I think I was 12 or 13 when that first album came out of the Beatles. I got the album, and I loved the album, and all the girls loved the Beatles, and I liked George. And most of my friends liked Paul or John, but I liked George. So I wrote a letter to George and sent him a letter.
There it is.
And he wrote back to me.
That is so cool.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and I have the letter. He wrote back, and he wrote it himself.
Hand wrote it,
I did research. Yeah, I did research this, that in those early days, and this was the year that they were still coming into the office once a week or once a month and answering much of their own fan mail. And so I do believe this is his actual handwriting, which you can tell because he sent me this letter, and it says something like, "Dear Nancy, I hear you like the Beatles. I hope you like this picture of me." And he sent 2 postcards. One was just a picture of his head, close-up of him, and on the back is where he wrote this note to me in a vertical direction. And then the other postcard was a horizontal picture of the 4 Beatles standing together, and on the back side, each one of them has a pre-printed signature. So I could compare that pre-printed signature to the one that he wrote to me, and it's identical. It's very distinctive. Too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, distinctive. So I kept this in a box with high school memories and forgot about it, and came upon it several years ago when I opened this box to look at my things. I'm like, oh my God, I have a letter from George Harrison.
Yeah, that
is really cool. I have to say.
At the time, that's like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've shown your girlfriends and your friends that. It must have been, oh whoa, that's like
pretty cool.
Huge. Yeah, that's so cool.
And this is history too, right? We're talking about it.
Modern
history right now. But I took a picture of the back of the postcard with the pre-printed signatures, and then I took a picture of the note that he wrote to me, and I posted that on Facebook a few years ago on his birthday, and it was a popular post. So since then, every year on his birthday, I repost.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is.
Yeah, so, I have the envelope addressed to me in that same handwriting.
Yeah, my buddy George. That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, my buddy
handwritten
George.
note.
So
that's great. Your pen
That
pal.
was my famous buddy George, and unfortunately I never got to see him in person, but I did get to see Paul a few years ago up at the Pepsi Center in Albany, and that was fantastic.
That's cool. That's great.
So so that's my story of George Harrison's birthday.
Awesome.
And next I'll move on. I just want to give you a warning. I'm calling from my cell phone today because my cable is out and my landline is out, and I panicked. But I called Dan on my cell, and we said it sounds okay.
Yeah, no, you sound good.
You sound great.
Loud and clear, so no problem.
Speaking to you from my cell, but in Hurley, where I live, our cell service is known to be sketchy. So if I disappear, I'll call back.
All right,
I get a drop call.
So you have, you told us that you have a rather interesting subject today about a famous photograph.
Yes, there's a famous photograph, it's well-known photograph of Sojourner Truth. And I'm going to talk about two people today that I was going to do on February 2nd, but we had that huge snowstorm, and I didn't get to do this on February 2nd, but it's still appropriate today. Sojourner Truth we were going to do Black History in February, but she's Black History of Ulster County, and she's also Women's History of Ulster County, and March is Women's History Month. So I posted a picture on the Friends of Historic Kingston Facebook page and their Instagram page of this card that has a picture of Sojourner Truth, a close-up picture of Sojourner Truth. And it might be one of the last pictures or the last photograph taken of her, because it was taken in 1882, and she passed away at the age of 90 in 1883. And this photograph was on a kind of a thicker material called, it's a cardstock photograph. And there's something back in those days in the 1800s called a CDV. They called it a carte de visite. And it was like a trading card or a calling card. And people would have these cards printed up. It was invented the process was invented by a man in France. So that's why it has kind of a French name here. But he patented this card in 1854. He could print 6 cards on a piece of this cardstock and cut them apart, so they could get 6 out of one developmental process. And people started giving these cards out, like visiting cards or calling cards, and people would collect them of their friends or people they knew or famous people and put them in albums, and they become quite collectible. So we, at Friends of Historic Kingston, not too long ago, had a donation to Friends of a CDV or carte de visite of Sojourner Truth. And she had those CDVs made up of herself when there are some when she's at a younger age, but this one was at her very older age, like 89 years old. And she had this made up to give out when she was giving a speech.
So that was in the late 1880s, right?
Yeah, yes. Actually, she would sell these cards to make money to help her travel and speak to people for the causes that she was promoting, women's rights and of course, former slavery rights, Black history. And so people would collect these cards, and one was donated to Friends of Historic Kingston that one of our members saw at, I think, at an antique show. And on this card, along the bottom, she has written, I sell the shadow to support the substance. And so she was selling this card to support her substance of traveling and speaking to people. And it's a photo by somebody named Corydon Randall in 1882, and it may be the last portrait of Sojourner Truth. So if you get a chance to look at the Friends of Historic Kingston Facebook page, you can see a picture of that card, and on the Instagram page as well.
We just pulled it up.
Yeah.
Nancy. I don't mean to interrupt you. We just pulled it up on our phones. And it's amazing, the clarity of the picture, from the age and so forth. You would never think that it would be so clear and and how they captured her. So if anyone who's listening, go on the Facebook page or the Instagram, because it is an amazing photo.
Yes, it's a fitting portrait, and we are very proud to have this card have a permanent home at Friends of Historic Kingston.
The photographer,
just a few yards away from the courthouse, where in 1820, she won the release of her son Peter, who had been illegally sold to someone in the South, where he was put back into slavery, and she fought that, got some help from some attorneys in Kingston, and won the case.
Arguably,
so her portrait is right near that courthouse where she won that.
Arguably, the beginning of abolition and the abolitionist movement here in Ulster County.
Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
You mentioned the name of the photographer. Was he a well-known? Like, was he a famous photographer at the day? And
no, I'm not sure about that. It's a portrait that's mounted on this cardstock, and I don't know if he was well known for making these. They were called CDVs. I don't know if he was well known for that, or if he was just a portrait photographer that she went to.
I was wondering.
I believe this may be the last portrait of her.
That's interesting.
Nancy, what was that byline that she wrote that was so profound? The byline that she wrote on it?
The shadow?
Yeah, I sell this shadow to support.
I sell the shadow to support the substance. And that runs along the bottom of the card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she was selling these cards, and that was her explanation. I sell the shadow.
That's interesting verbiage.
To support the substance of her speech.
Yeah, like almost mystical, like the image, the shadow, like this photograph is like her shadow. It's interesting word selection and the substance to the meat of why I'm here. It's pretty
profound.
Really profound. That's neat.
Yeah. And actually, right around the corner from where your studio is, on 135 Green Street, that was Abraham Boone Hasbrook's house, the stone house there, during the time of the Sojourner Truth trial in Ulster County Courthouse. And it's believed that Sojourner Truth probably lived there during the trial. She stayed with Abraham Boone Hasbrook.
Is that the DAR house?
At the 135 Green Street house, yes.
Is that the DAR house, or where is that 135?
Well, if you come in from North Front, it's on the right side. Look for 135. It's kind of a double stone house there, and the back facing down Lucas End. And
I think it has those two porches on the front.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
And
on the right side of the road.
Stayed, in the basement level, which would have been the slavery quarters during the time of slavery, so she may have been able to use that. We're not sure, but it's believed that she did stay with him during the trial. He offered her a place to stay, and then, of course, she won that trial with his help. So the card is important in more ways than one because it has so many connections to Kingston and Uptown and the courthouse.
Yeah.
And, by the time that card was made, she was traveling around the country speaking as Sojourner Truth. But when she first came to the courthouse, she was Isabella Blomfrey, just trying to get her son back, which she did. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I heard that he did, when he came back, he was a young man. He did work for the D&H Canal for a short time.
Huh.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting, yeah. Now,
speaking of the D&H Canal.
I'm talking about the card itself. Is any of the province of that known, like where it was obtained, or where they saw her speak or anything like that, or is that unknown?
I don't know where she was selling them. I don't know where she was selling, but we know that she did sell those. And that, like I said, she sold some with a younger portrait of herself on them. I've seen that online. And then this one she sold probably for a shorter time period because it was just, the portrait was taken like the year before she passed away.
Yeah.
So this was probably the more collectible of the two. And one of the Friends of Store Kingston members saw this for sale and decided this would be a good donation.
Oh,
to Friends of Store Kingston. So
it's not like someone came. It's not like someone came forward and said, "Oh, my great-great-grandmother got this at, at a show in Albany or something like that." Okay. All right.
No, it was found at an antique show or antique sale. Yes, so we're very lucky to have that in our possession, and this is the first time that it has been shown on Facebook and Instagram, and we hope someday to be able to show it in the museum gallery too, when, if we have something on Black History and Sojourner Truth, that we could show this in person. So this is part of our collection. And Facebook and Instagram give us a way to show what's in the Friends of Stuart Kingston collection, particularly at this time when the gallery hasn't been open because of the pandemic. So we're grateful for media for that.
Do you have to take any, it's a photographic image, so I imagine it's, you can't put it in the sun. Do you have to take any special precautions with this item? For storage and all that?
Yes, I would think so. Right now, it's not in the sun at all because it's in our archives. But, I believe if it does get displayed, it would be out of the sunlight for sure.
Yeah. But it's not like you have to keep it in a special, atmosphere or something like that. It's relatively robust.
Yeah, I'm sure all of our archives are kept in the way that they should be. Our director is very cautious about that and has everything well protected. So that is the card, and if anybody wants to see what that looks like, please take a look at the Friends of Stuart Kingston Facebook page, click a like, and then you'll see the things that we post every so often, and also the Friends of Stuart Kingston, FH Kingston on Instagram. So take a look at that. And then my other person that I want to talk about, Nina is very interested in, is Henry Rosecrans from Kingston, New York. And I got the idea to do Henry because the archives did a display on him on the second floor, and I always like to see the displays that the archives does. And this was something new to me. I didn't know about Henry Rosecrans until that a display was done. So, Nina, do you know how they found out about Henry Rosecrans?
Yes, we did research through our archives, tell you the truth. We did research, and he appeared in now I'm trying to think which document it was, Nancy. He appeared in our archives in one of our documents, and that is what started the interest in him and the research into him. And that's how it all came about in the beginning. Very interesting background.
Well, who is this guy?
We'll let Nancy tell you. Go ahead, Nancy.
Yes, let's tell Cameron and our listeners who Henry Rosecrans is. He was born enslaved in Kingston, New York between 1808 and 1810, and his uncle was a local barber in town. And as Henry grew up, he decided to become a barber like his uncle. Of course, he was no longer a slave because New York was not having slavery after 1827, I believe. And so he had his freedom and followed in his uncle's footsteps, owning a barber shop on John Street. I've read it was close to Crown. It was on John, close to Crown. From the 1830s, he started his barber shop and had it for about 50 years. He provided services, it says, like cutting hair, shaving, warm and cold baths, and other services to people who came to his shop.
I want to go take a bath. I'm going to go to the barber's today. Well, back then, most people didn't have the ability to heat that much hot water.
That's right.
So, public baths were a thing.
I'm sorry. An African-American business owner was very unusual at that time, and he owned his own shop, which was an amazing achievement for that time, and ran that shop for over 50 years. So it must have been very good as well. And the archives, on your Facebook site, you had a great display from the display that was upstairs on the second floor of the county building, but the archives had a very nice on Facebook display of it too. And
yes. Yeah, we actually put the display down in the lobby this year because that's the only place that the public comes into. But you're right, Nancy's on the Facebook page too, also.
Yes, so take a look at the Ulster County Archives Facebook page and you can see more about it. You have maps and you have a lot of things. So the one amazing thing that I found in the story is that in 1881, now this would be when Henry Rosecrans was probably in his 70s, the Kingston Daily Freeman published an article about him with an extensive interview. So if it was a normal time that I could go into the Kingston Library and look up the old newspaper, I would have printed that out. But I don't have that in print right now. But I read the article from the archives, and it says when they interviewed him, he talked about what it was like in the old days in Kingston. he talked about how a holiday called Pinkster was celebrated in Kingston. That was a Dutch holiday, and it became a celebration for African Americans in Kingston. And then another interesting thing that I know Taylor Bruck, our Kingston city historian, liked is that Henry Rosecrans discussed in this article how he liked to play baseball when he was a young man.
Yes.
And a boy. And the reporter asked him, what was baseball like back in your early days? And he's reported as saying it was something like baseball today, but the ball wasn't as hard, but we used to have much more fun playing it. That was his quote. So Taylor was saying in his article about this that it makes Rosecrans one of the first African Americans documented to have played baseball in the United States.
Wow.
And that's according to the official Major League Baseball historian, John Thorne. So Henry Rosecrans is famous for his Kingston work as a barber, but also for being one of the first documented African Americans to have played baseball.
Man, this place turns out some crazy historical figures.
Yeah, and so I'm so glad that although as the years went by, Rosecrans' role in Kingston faded, and we didn't know about him, but that the archives rediscovered him, put him in the spotlight. He really served as a community leader, a business owner who took great pride in his work, and an early adopter of the game of baseball, and also an African-American business owner, owning his own shop, and it was an amazing achievement for the time. So we tip our hat right now to Henry Rosecrans, and thank you to the archive.
Do you know
if
he has any descendants still in the area?
I didn't find anything about that. Nina, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, no, not that I'm aware of. I'm looking here at the article that was in the paper. It's at part of our exhibit. If you go on the Facebook page, there's 13 slides to the actual exhibit on him, as well as the biography. So taking a little longer to download here, but yeah, I'm not aware of any relatives, Nancy, that are still here in the area.
And you said it was on John near Crown, so the exact location isn't known?
Yeah, there's a map of where, if you go on the exhibit, if I could pull up
John near Crown, I mean, all those buildings are pretty old, but I don't know if they date back that old.
Yeah, I was looking at the maps trying to figure out exactly where his shop was.
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling up now.
Well, John and Crown is where the Four Corners are, right? The historical Four Corners?
Yes. Now, the Kingston Directory of 1873 lists Henry as a hairdresser at the location of John and Wall, but another time I've read he was closer to Crown. So he was on John Street. We're just not sure where that was.
Well, John and Wall, that's buildings. None of those buildings are that old, so I don't think.
Yeah. There's a very interesting map
Here's
on
the map.
What do you
Yeah,
have?
we can look. I don't know. Can you make it bigger? I don't know. We'll have to.
Yeah, have to look at that.
Yeah.
Did in this interview, did it say anything? Any more other than playing baseball about any of the other, day-to-day life in Kingston? The Black experience or anything? Did he have anything?
Yeah, I would love to read the whole article. I've just read the excerpts that the archives has here. But sometime when the Kingston room of the city library is open again, I would like to go in there and print a copy of that article from the Kingston Freeman myself, because I think it's great that they interviewed him and got this information.
The library is open. You can go to the library.
I'm not sure if if they're unlocking that Kingston.
Oh yeah, it's open. Yeah. The director was on the radio with us last week. They are open. They limit your time inside, and there's a number of restrictions. But yeah, you can drive right up. Yeah.
Because I have in the past used the old Daily Freemans on microfilm, and you can research an article and print it out. But if the archives has it, maybe we can get a copy from there.
Yes. Too. Yeah, we actually have the census record of him too. It's if you go on the Facebook page, there's there's quite a bit there. There's another map here that I just found.
Now, was he a freeman? Was it? He was born in Kingston, so he had never been a slave, correct?
Yes, he was a slave. He was born enslaved in Kingston.
In New York. Wow. Okay.
As a child, he would have been a slave. He was born between 1808 and 1810, and slavery, of course, was being phased out from 1827 on. So, as a young man, he was able to work, and probably started in his uncle's barber shop. His uncle was Henry Columbus, and so sometimes they called Henry Rosecrans Columbus, because he was associated with his uncle, who had a barbershop in the Kingston Hotel, I believe, which was on Crown Street, kind of behind the old Woolworths building. Was where the Kingston Hotel was. So his uncle had a barbershop there. And then Henry opened his own barbershop on John Street, so right around the corner from his uncle, and he ran that shop for about 50 years. So imagine all the people that he knew in Kingston at the time.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, if you go on the website, if you go on our website, there's a deed there from 1838 that shows him purchasing the lot. It was located on Broadway near St. James Street and Albany Avenue. So here was somebody who was a former slave purchasing property in Kingston just 11 years after abolishing slavery, which occurred in 1827. So anyway, a lot of information on the website. Thank you, Nancy, so much.
Yeah, Nancy, we got to go. We ran late, so thank you so much.
Okay, that was fun.
And enjoy your month. We'll talk to you next month. All right,
Okay,
Dan,
bye-bye.
take it away. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, there's Nancy's dog. And thank you, Nancy's dog. And thank you, Nancy Chando, for calling in for this last half hour. And special thanks, of course, to Heidi Kirschner and also Bill Merchant, who were our guests today. And of course, Nina Postupack and Cameron Rylance for hosting Terrific Tuesday. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Rondout Savings, always working for you in the community with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park, also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. You have been listening to Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM WGHQ, and our live streaming on mykcr.org. Until tomorrow at 7 a.m., we wish you every success in growing and developing Kingston and all our neighboring communities. We now return you to Real Country Radio.